Hello, welcome back to Learn Economia. In this video, we are going to see the balance of payment crisis in India. Before starting the video, let me request you to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos, and also you can be a part of my Telegram group as well as Telegram channel. I'll be providing the links of the same in the description box. You can use it to discuss about all these kinds of topics that we do in the videos. And also, if you want me to do any particular videos with respect to any of the topics, you can comment that in the comment box so that I can take it up and do the video on that. So with that, let's get started. Sorry. So we know that the 1991, the year 1991, it's very much specific to India, especially it is an year which has made India to go for many economic reforms. So what are the costs that made India to go for the economic reforms? Was basically the country was facing a huge problem, a huge deficit with respect to balance of payment. So the balance of payment of the country was actually in crisis. So all these have made the balance of not only the balance of payment to go to a crisis, but also the country or the economy of the country as a whole. We could see that all the sectors were badly affected by this crisis, and also uh, the economy was unable to pay for its essential imports, and it was gradually brought to a situation of debt trap. So it was facing difficulties with respect to repayment of its loans, which it had taken from international organizations, or it was a problem. It was a situation when the country was facing problem with respect to its trade deficits, etc., etc. So in this video, we'll be focusing on the balance of payment crisis that India has faced, the causes for the same, and also the effect that effect on the Indian economy as a result of this crisis. Further, we'll be looking into the policies taken by the Indian government. Furthermore, we'll be looking to see certain specific kind of policies with respect to the stress. So I don't want you to give a much detailed intro with respect to this. I hope you might got some idea with respect to the kind of situation that Indian economy was going through in this particular year of 1991. So with that, let's move on to the causes of this balance of payment crisis. As we have already told, the Indian economy as such was fully in a kind of imbalanced situation with huge fiscal deficit, current account deficit, etc. And this crisis was not something which happened all of a sudden, or you cannot say that on one fine day Indian economy faced this particular situation. So that means that this was a situation which developed gradually, and this was caused by some kind of decades of imprudence. What was the causes of this crisis specifically? So in order to answer that, we have to understand that we were having a huge government expenditure, and the revenue was not enough to meet government expenditure. So what India has done is that it had to go for borrowings. So this has made its fiscal deficit to grow up. In compared to the GDP of India in 1980-81, we could see that the 1991 our GDP had increased, but with respect to our earnings, we could see that our fiscal deficit was not growing. Fiscal deficit was actually growing. So and also we could see that the internal debt of the country had shown a sharp increase. This is especially due to the reason which we have mentioned here above, uh, if you look into the figures, you could see that it had risen from 35% of GDP in 85-86 to 53% in 1991. And also, you could see that India was a country which was doing a lot of importing rather than exporting. So, as a result, our trade was in deficit. When our imports grow more than our export, what happens is that our country will have to pay more to the countries from where we export. So, sorry, from where we import. And also we were exporting a little compared to our imports. So our current account deficit automatically became very high. And what was the trigger to this current account deficit? It was a rise in crude oil prices. That was a duration of Gulf War, and during this war, the foreign reserves of India depleted massively. And even though we were going for borrowings and all, especially from international organization like International Monetary Fund, that was not enough for India to do with its what import bill. And by June 91, India had less than $1 billion forex reserve, which was just sufficient to meet its import requirements. So, and that too for a little duration. And coming to the forex reserve again, you could see that this is something to deal with the trade relationship with the world, and India was on the verge of defaulting on its international debt obligations, and it was as a last resort that India went for the reforms. Investors, they were not at all interested in investing money in India, because they could understand that if they invest money in India, that would end up in loss. So they didn't want to end up in loss, and so they had withdrawn all their money from India. And the short term credit in the country has dried up, as exporters were very much apprehensive that they would not be paid. So they considered India as a risky situation. So, and also the inflation rates in the country went. So these all these were the causes of the BOP crisis, which was faced, which was there in the Indian economy. And what were the effects then? We could understand that we had a huge trade deficit. Our exports were very much less compared to imports. So what we had done is that we have tried to restrict our imports. And also we had increased the price of the fuel. Why the price of fuels were increased? This because there was a problem with respect to Gulf War, and we were importing this oil, crude oil, petroleum products, etc., from these OPEC countries, right? So these OPEC countries, when they had the problem of Gulf War, they had increased the price of crude oil and petroleum products, and that made India to pay high to get all these kinds of products. So, in order to reduce the consumption of these kinds of products, what India has made is that it has increased the domestic price of fuels. Then bank rates were increased in the country. That is mainly to curb inflationary situation in the economy, because people had money with them, and that was the situation when there were less production. That means that the demand for products were very much high. People had money with them, and it was the inflation was mostly demand pull one. So in order to restrict this kind of a situation, what the government has done is that the government uh, with RBI, what RBI has done is that the RBI has gone for a increased interest rates. Then the government had to cut the spending. So from the side of the government, what from the side of fiscal policy, what it has the government has done is that it has reduced its expenditure with respect to the spending on on several what several allowances, etc., given to the people, so as to reduce the money in the hands of the people. So India had to secure an emergency loan of $2.2 billion from the International Monetary Fund. So in order to get these kinds of loans, especially from these international organizations, that means that we have to pledge something either in terms of dollars or in terms of gold. So as a result, India has pledged 67 tons of gold as collateral security. And in May 91, India had sent, in May 1991, the India had sent 20 tons of gold to the Union Bank of Switzerland. And in July 47, tons of gold was sent to the Bank of England. And we could see that all these were the main effects of the problems which happened in 1991. And as a result of all these kinds of situation, what the government has done is the government has gone for certain policies. So by that time, it was the Manmohan Singh finance ministership was going on. He was a finance minister, and he, along with the prime minister of that duration, they have gone for some kind of reforms, which has all these reforms are the steps taken by the country which made India to transform itself. So what were the important steps taken by the country during that duration? So first of all, what the government has done is that the government has announced certain industrial policy reforms. As a result, license Raj as well as Inspector Raj were removed. And also industrial licensing was abolished. Uh, that means that there would be more and more industries coming up in the country, and there were measures taken to ease domestic supply constraints. And also there were some measures to spur up investment. So this is mainly to increase foreign portfolio investment, foreign direct investment, foreign institutional investment, etc. And with respect to trade, we could see that our main problem with respect to trade was our exports were less compared to our imports. So in order to boost our export competitive rupee, I mean, in order to make our export very much competitive, rupee was devalued by 20%. So this is mainly to boost our exports, and also licensing controls and regulations on exports were eased. With respect to public sector reforms, we could see that there was liberalization of foreign direct investment. That means that for people can invest in India without facing much restrictions. Then public sector companies were given more operational freedom to scale up and make bigger contributions to the economy. So this again gave some chance to make what investment possible in India. And with respect to fiscal correction, subsidies for exports were abolished. So that's all with respect to this 1991 BOP crisis, its causes, effects, and the policies taken by the government. So with that, we end today's video. And again, I would like to remind you about our Telegram group and Telegram channel, and also I would like to remind you of liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel for more videos. With that, we end today's video. Thank you.